An impressive group of very well cared for older cars assembled at the Centara Hotel, Lat Phrao, Bangkok in December 2007 to proceed in stately convoy to Thailand's original resort town, Hua Hin, some 3 hours away, as an 80th birthday tribute to His Majesty the King. The Vintage Car Club of Thailand motors to Hua Hin every year, and this time, with the assistance of car clubs in Malaysia, set itself the goal of celebrating the royal occasion with a gathering of the same number of vintage and classic cars. A delight for connoisseurs of motoring history. At a picturesque spot along the road to Hua Hin, a gracious welcome was extended to all involved in the epic journey, and the townsfolk were there to join in the occasion. Parking was, as always, an issue, but there were no mishaps, and the line-up of classic cars just kept coming in. The presence of a vehicle skillfully constructed from alien parts and the product of extreme automotive imagination very much appealed to a mostly male group of onlookers. Elsewhere, others were inclined to prefer a more romantic expression of personal transportation.
Well, this wonderful collection of classic cars and vintage automobiles has stopped for lunch on the way to Hua Hin in Phet Province at Ban Lam, where there's been a very big welcome indeed. It's created a lot of attention having the people here, which is just what they hoped they would do, because this is the year to visit Phet Province.
Here at the Wat, some buildings are known to date from at least 200 years ago, and the beauty of the interior captivated all who stepped inside. The hall contains a tribute to King Taksin the Great, the monarch who led the Siamese forces in wresting back control of Siam from the Burmese after the destruction of Ayutthaya. All in good time, the classic cars arrived in Hua Hin and were rested in the grounds of the Sofitel Centara Grand Resort and Villas before the upcoming parade, while owners and drivers went on to the 80 Chefs banquet and to view a magnificent new portrait of His Majesty the King.
Tonight, the splendid new surroundings of Hua Hin's village market is the setting for a marvellous dinner at which the chefs from the great resorts here, all members of the Hoteliers Club, have provided a wonderful dinner at very small cost to all the people who've come along to 80 metres of smorgasbord.
And the food selection was delectable. But most remarkable of all, the massive portrait of His Majesty the King is specially created for this great occasion. How did they achieve such a large-scale picture?
Well, about 2 weeks ago, they had a blank canvas and started with the outline of the King's portrait, and 80 artists of Hua Hin came together to actually design and fill in the portrait over a period of 10 days, and they used a forklift crane to actually go up to the painting and had all sorts of two-way communication to try and get the colour right. So it's been a remarkable effort by many, many artists of Hua Hin. We initiated the Vintage Car Parade about 5 years ago in 2003, and it's grown bigger every year, and of course today we see the biggest rollout of vintage cars that we have in Thailand, so it's a unique opportunity to see some classics from the past.
It certainly focuses attention on Hua Hin and on this splendid, really quite old hotel.
Yeah, it's the first resort in Thailand, of course, and it's got a long-standing history. A lot of people living in Thailand for a long time remember this from many, many years ago when they're children, when they're coming to see the big elephant. And of course, Hua Hin as a destination is, of course, a wonderful place to be, and somewhat underrated in the last few years by not really having the international exposure like some of our other destinations, Phuket and Samui and perhaps now Krabi. But Hua Hin is definitely a wonderful place to be.
I get very excited seeing some of these interesting old cars. I must confess I remember some of them. What's your feeling?
Well, I remember some of them, but probably the 1935s I can't remember, but I look at them in awe. I must say one of the Citroens that's in the parade is one of my favourite cars. I remember the old French movies, black and white movies when I was a kid to see those cars in there. It was special.
Time for the group photograph. And then to set off on the vintage car parade.
What an extraordinary machine this one is. It must be the oldest one, is it?
It's the oldest car in Thailand. It's 1904 Barak, so it's 103 years old.
Did it take you very long to learn to drive it?
No, because I've been driving old cars for 40 years, so no, it didn't take a long time.
Is there a knack to driving a really old car like this?
Patience.
You have the temperature gauge right there in front of you on the tank.
That's right. It's on top of the tank. The temperature's going up of the tank and the temperature's going up of the driver.
The world's first cars were usually open to the elements, right up until early sedans began to be designed and manufactured. The big yellow pickup from the 40s offered a suitable platform to view the parade of classic cars along the main road in Hua Hin and through the winding laneway of a Hua Hin resort, where the drivers of these much-loved vintage vehicles could see their compatriots coming and going in style. The cars duly returned to the Sofitel Centara Grand, where visitors could pay a small fee for a spin in the dream car of their choice, or even appear to be at the wheel of a classic car, in this case celebrating a special anniversary. Classic cars have captured hearts over many years, and the annual parade from the Sofitel Centara Grand Resort and Villas, Hua Hin's original resort and oldest hotel, is the ideal place to keep alive the love of vintage vehicles.